What's going on, everyone? I'm pumped, as I'm sure many of you are, about this upcoming Lakers season. This Lakers roster is ridiculous. They are stacked front to back. There is a real argument for several of these players to be in the starting lineup, which is crazy to think of. Usually you have, your starting unit that you're like, okay, these are the five that you're going to run out. And then you have your bench guys, your role players, and your backup guys. But outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis and most likely Austin Reeves, there's an argument for like Taurean Prince, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent over D'Angelo Russell, starting Jackson Hayes alongside Anthony Davis. And that's what's so special about this roster. The versatility, the size, the athleticism, the youth, the switchability, the versatility. They're probably going to be number one in defense this year, is my guess. At worst, they're probably top 3 to 5 in defense. I think they're going to be a top 5 offense in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if they're number 1, right? They were top 7 in the league last year, and that roster was nowhere near what this roster is. And they averaged 116 points last year. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that they averaged 120 this year, which would put them on par with the number 1 offense last year, which were the Sacramento Kings. So this is a roster that I have full expectations to really just have a great season and really kind of push for an NBA championship. And hopefully this is the year that they break the tie for the all-time winning record and end up getting number 18. But again, with this roster, there is so many different versatility lineups that you can run. And I imagine that Darvin Ham, one, is going to have his work cut out for him, right? Trying to figure out which players mesh well together, which units look good together, right? There's going to be a lot of just trial and error and experimentation, especially early on. Once you get to like that back half of the season, that's when you really start locking in. You start locking in your playoff rotation. You start fighting for seeding. If you know you're a game or two out of like first or second or something like that, or if you're in first or second, you're trying to keep and maintain that, right? Once you get to that back half of the season, that's when things kind of become a little more serious. Obviously, the Lakers want to win as many games as possible, and I'm not saying that they're just going to leave a bad unit out there for long term, but you will see, my guess is, some experimentation of like different lineups, different variations. So what type of different lineups could we see for the Lakers? I have all kinds of different like mix and match type of variations, and I won't go into like every possibility here, but a couple that I'd really like to see, and ones that I imagine we will get for sure. And starting off with the first is just the original, I guess, OG starting 5 from last year, right? Where you have D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis. I imagine that this unit very likely is the starting unit, and is the starting unit probably going into the playoffs. Now, I don't know how much Jared Vanderbilt will actually play. I think he'll probably be for the Lakers just because of all the depth at the wing spot. I think that, with that forward depth, we'll see Jared Vanderbilt around like 10 to maybe 15 minutes a game, where he's starting the first 5 minutes, locking down the best player on the other team, and then doing that towards the end of the game, maybe like the last 5 minutes, is when we see Jared Vanderbilt come back in and kind of close out, especially if he has a much improved 3-point shot. That's kind of my guess. But outside of that, and that unit being used, even if it's not the starting unit, you're going to see this unit on the court for some period of time every game, is my guess. You have the bench unit, right? And this even is very interchangeable, right? You got Gabe Vincent, you got Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes. You could even see Max Christie, which the Lakers are super high on Max Christie, and there is kind of this like, is it going to be Max Christie or is it going to be Cam Reddish that gets the 2 spot in the backup role behind Austin Reeves? I think you could easily plug in Max Christie into this unit, but very likely this will be the 10 most likely rotation pieces. Obviously, if the Lakers get like a Christian Wood, or they got to get another big man regardless, whoever that is, you can add them to the list. So that would give us 11. And then, of course, Max Christie would give us 12. Again, a lot of depth. You're going to see a lot of different lineups and variations. Obviously, the Lakers have the rookies too, in Shafino and Lewis, although I don't think that they'll get much time. I could see them getting some run here and there. And look, I wouldn't even mind a lineup of like, say, Shafino, Lewis, Christie, Reddish, and like Hayes or something, right? And it's just like all the young guns, and you're just pushing the pace and just running and gunning, right? And just see what it looks like for 5 minutes a game or something like that. Allow Shafino, because that's what he's good at, is pushing the pace, using his quickness to get from coast to coast, his 6'6" size, being able to finish through traffic, and just kind of put a unit out there where he can kind of drive and kick and stuff like that. I think that could be pretty interesting. I think that could be pretty cool. Another thing is the Lakers have talked about heavily starting Jackson Hayes alongside Anthony Davis, something else that I mentioned earlier. And so I imagine that there will be different lineups and looks with Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis, if that is something that they really want to push, right? So I could see like, Jackson Hayes, Anthony Davis, LeBron, Jackson Hayes, Anthony Davis, Vando, Jackson Hayes, Anthony Davis, Rui, Taurean Prince, so on and so forth, right? Try to see what three front court players match well the best, which ones feed off each other the best, what guard play. Does Gabe Vincent work better with Jackson Hayes? Is it D'Lo? Is it Austin Reeves at the point? And, maybe Christie at the 2, Prince at the 2, whatever. How does that look? I do imagine that the Lakers are going to have, the big lineups. We'll have various small ball lineups is my guess too. I think you'll get several units, of course, with Jackson Hayes at the center position, and then, whomever around him, Rui at the 4, or maybe you have Christie at the, or LeBron at the 4, or you have Cam Reddish at the 4, right? Like different mix and matches. And again, this goes into just the versatility of this roster. The endless possibilities of just different looks, different lineups. I mean, you could go big and have something like LeBron at the point, right? And, maybe Vando and Rui and AD with Hayes, right? Because Vando's ability to guard point guards, right? Like, I mean, there's just, it's crazy the different lineups you could do. You could go like a big small ball lineup. Like usually you see small ball lineups, it's like 3 or 4 guards and then like, a power forward at the center position, right? Like even the Denver Nuggets would do, something like Murray, KCP, Braun, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon, or Bruce Brown and Aaron Gordon, and just kind of go four guards and go just fast and push the pace. The Lakers, you could do something, you could do a big lineup and have, like Rui at the 5, and like Vando at the 4, and Reddish at the 3, and Braun at the point, and, or Reeves at the point, and Reddish at the 2, right? You got like a 6'8" point guard, 6'8" shooting guard, 6'8" small forward, 6'8" power forward, 6'8" center. It's like, man, like it's crazy the different lineups that this Lakers roster can do. But another sort of lineup that I'd really like to see, and we'll kind of close out and round up this video, and of course I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, is I wouldn't mind something like this. Have Austin Reeves, especially with Austin Reeves, wants to be the point guard more, wants to be the playmaker, primary playmaker. The Lakers have talked about heavily how they want to give Austin Reeves that opportunity. Austin Reeves played point guard in high school. He played it in college. And Austin Reeves even talked about how he got the opportunity to do so in the playoffs. We saw LeBron more willing to let Reeves kind of handle the ball and just kind of orchestrate and initiate the offense, things like that. I could definitely see Reeves at the point, and then run different 4-man units around Reeves and kind of see which ones work. I also really like the idea of Taurean Prince at the 2. I know he hasn't really played 2 for his career, but he's played the 3 a lot and he's played the 4 a lot. And in today's NBA, the 3 and the 2 are essentially the same position, especially in today's era of like positionless basketball. Like Taurean Prince playing the 2 guard, his role would be the same as the 3 guard. Knock down threes, defend the player in front of you. It's not rocket science, right? He's a basketball player. He can play any position you need him to. And at 6'7", like that's an ideal size for a shooting guard. Like that would be great with his size and length. And I wouldn't mind seeing something like an Austin Reeves at the point guard, Torian Prince at the 2. So you got like a 6'5" point guard, 6'7" shooting guard. Maybe go with like Reddish, unless Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt has a better 3-point shot this year, then maybe you could go Jared Vanderbilt. But otherwise, you could go like Cam Reddish at the 3 and allow him to use his size, his athleticism. Rui Hachimura at the 4, 80 at the 5, or you could again go Jackson Hayes at the 5. You could even do this lineup and maybe have Vando. So maybe go Reeves at the point, Prince at the 2, or you could go Reddish at the 2. It doesn't matter, whatever, right? Go Reddish at the 2. You have Prince at the 4 at this point, and then Rui. But I think Rui's best at the 4. But like you could swap, like you could even go a small ball lineup, swap Anthony Davis with Jared Vanderbilt, move Rui to the 5, right? So have Rui, Prince, Vando, Reddish, and Reeves. That'd give you a nice, sizable, small ball lineup. Or you could go the 5 you see on screen, or just swap Anthony Davis with Jackson Hayes. Because I want to see, we know how good Austin Reeves and LeBron play off of each other. I'd like to see other units with Austin Reeves and without LeBron James, right? Can Reeves, because at some point, Reeves is not going to have LeBron James to play off of, not going to have LeBron James to feed off of. And if Austin Reeves is going to be our point guard of the future, and he really is going to step into that role, I want to see what does Reeves look like with the other players on our roster, especially the guys that you have the intentions of keeping long term, right? What is Reeves with Vando, Rui, AD, Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Shafino, Lewis. Like, what does it look like with those guys? Because those are the guys you're going to have long term, and Austin Reeves is supposed to be the point guard. You can run Reeves and Shafino together, right? Like, that's all things that I think would work and be fine. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What different lineups do you have to see? Like I said, I mean, I could talk about this for hours. Literally, we just have so many different interchangeable parts. But to keep this video from being like a 2-hour video, I'll leave it at that. And I'd love to kind of hear your different mix and match combinations, right? Kind of like Legos here, right? You building different structures. Pretty cool. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments.